6 months after our boat hunting trip to Florida, the Maple Leaf is back in the water and ready for another summer on the Ottawa River. Our first couple of weekends were spent fairly close to home as the winds were quite light. Still, getting out in the water for a few days is always welcome, and there are a few interesting things to check out along this stretch of the river.
Headed upriver. It's a bit hairy right now, hairier than I like or had the experience for, but Dave likes to throw me to the hills so that I get some experience. I'm nervous about all the boats, as you can see by me looking around. There is a lot of boats on the river right now.
There it is, 5 knots.
With a motor dragon.
Motor dragon, small Genoa. The mainsail has a hole in it. So until we get it fixed, I'd rather not throw it up. I guess the thing about Britannia Bay, Lac du Chien, is there's a bunch of reefs. And we've been on pretty much all of them. So at least now we know where not to go.
Yeah. Let's try it on this side. Action! It's not as exciting when you're not going very fast, you know.
This sailing season, but we call it cruise season.
Yes.
Because it's the season when Kyla gets cruises and stuff like that.
That's true. We should get there. You said it was 9 kilometers to Pinhey. So we should have been there already, basically. But because we're having to go back and forth across the river, it's taking 5 or 6 times as long. Okay, so we're here. Sure, Dave. You take the tiller. This is Pinhey's Point. There's looks like about 6 or 7 boats in there already. It's a very nice mooring spot because you can see that jet of land. It really shelters the wind, so it's pretty popular. Okay. Let me know when you're ready, baby. Everyone's watching us to make sure we don't come too close to them. Okay, I think I'm gonna drop it down. Down? Now, this is a bit of a guessing game. You're supposed to leave 7 times your depth. Our depth finder doesn't work. We have no idea how deep we are. I'm gonna guess it's at least 15 feet, which means we leave like 100 feet of rope. There's no way I'm leaving in 100 feet of rope. So I'll just put a ton of rope out and see.
7 times the depth?
Yep. Of course I did.
Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Made it.
Made it.
Take 2. Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Made it.
Made it.
Made it.
Dave, what do you think of this spot?
Well, if we don't drag, then it's perfect.
Dave's pretty paranoid about dragging. That's why we didn't go into that little tighter spot that was kind of better, maybe.
Dragging is a drag.
Dragging is a drag. Yeah.
Got the dirty looks. Oh, the leap of faith. That's what I'm talking about. Welcome to bruise season. We call it bruise season. I thought we'd be able to see the sunset, but we'd have to go out in the middle of the river. Well, there it is. It's what, June 8th? 2 weeks basically from the summer solstice, so it's about 9 o'clock at night now. Sun's starting to go. Perfect night to be on the water. You could hear that all the way from over there? Wow. Oh, look, another kayaker. Morning coffee, tea.
Morning tea.
It was a calm night. Wind's up a little bit, not a ton. Beautiful morning. I mean, there was not a puff of wind last night, but it was cold. And I had nobody to keep me warm. This is Pinhey's Point historical site. Apparently it was an actual settlement in the 1800s called Horaceville. Now it's got toilets, so the boaties can come and use those. While Kyla and I have toured the grounds at Pinhey's Point many times, on this day we joined a geological tour that explained the ancient history of the area. As it turns out, the hills that run down the Quebec side of the river are what's left of one of the oldest mountain ranges in the world. The Grenville Range was created when two ancient continents collided, and it stretched from Labrador to Mexico. Estimates say that billions of years ago the hills were as tall as the Himalayas, and the land we were standing on was twice been at the bottom of the sea, the last time being 13,000 years ago. Haven't actually gone on the island in years because it's basically covered in goose poop and garbage and poison ivy, eh there? Yeah. Not that inviting, but we'll check it out. Our next stop was Aylmer Island, a small bump in the middle of the Ottawa River, about 8 kilometers from where we moored the boat at Britannia. Because the river was once an important route for Canada's First Nations, it comes as no surprise that the island is an ancient burial place for both the Algonquin and the Huron nations, with graves being found when a lighthouse was being built in 1909. Here's this unmanned lighthouse. As we walked around, we were able to use the geological information we gained on the Pinhey's Point tour to assess the rocks on the island, letting out our inner nerd. Like at one time it could have been coral. It's just a short paddle from Aylmer Island to Shirleys Bay. The land around the bay is owned by National Defence and houses various training areas, including a firing range. Guess that explains why they don't want any trespassers. You can often hear the rat-tat-tat of gunfire as you sail by. You can actually see there's a little bird up in that nest. The one good thing is that by keeping people out, nature thrives here. On our little paddle through, we saw a couple of deer, egrets, herons, and lots of other more common birds. All along the shore, there's these signs. Signs everywhere, just signs. I can't tell whether they're meant to keep me out or to keep Mother Nature in. Cheesy. Last spring, the inboard, an old atomic core, was declared DOA, so we hobbled through the season with a 67 Merc on the back. And this year we bought this propane-powered Lear 9.9, which so far has been excellent. There wasn't much wind, but it was time to head home nonetheless. Fortunately, things filled in as we went, and by the time we were halfway home, the breeze had come up nicely, ending the weekend with a nice sail.
All of a sudden the wind picked up, which is nice for the racers. And pretty good for us too.